Hey everyone, Sheila here from Life with Pets. So as I promised in my last video, I would do an update on our 75-gallon with the ick outbreak. So that is what I am going to do today. I'm going to go over that, and then I'm also going to show you the baby beta fry as well, although they're not fry anymore, they're getting rather large. So let's see who we have here. We've got the King of Animal Care says hi, Stormy says hi, CC Cubing says hi, Olivia Jones Aquatic says hi. So hey guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hey Danny, thank you for joining us. I know, again, usually I'm not very good with times and this, and I announce it very shortly before going live, but I never really know when I'm going to be live, so you just have to bear with me from that. So hi from Liverpool, great to see you. Great to see you too. Thank you all for joining us. So like I've said, I'm going to do a beta fish update, the babies. I'm going to feed them, and I'm also going to show you the 75-gallon and just what is going on in there as well. So the Aquarium Life says, love your video, says hi, it's Emmy. She says hello as well. So thank you all for joining us. Fishing Craziness One says, shout me out. So hi to you. And Xavier, love your videos. Thank you all very much. So let's get on with the update. Let me turn the camera around so you've got a better view of the tank instead of me. So the fish are doing really well. It is working. And I'm going to feed them so that hopefully they will slow down. So just let me put the food in, and then we can start a feeding frenzy. And hopefully then they might slow down so you'll be able to see them better. You'll have to use the glare. That's the one problem with videoing during the day. The glare on the tanks can actually get really bad, but the puffer fish are doing well. They've got less spots. They've still got a lot of spots, but they have got a lot less spots. So it is working. A lot of you are asking what temperature we have the tank at, and we've got it at 88 degrees. So I'm monitoring the fish very closely. Are you Scout, Sheila? Yes, I am, Isaac. We've got the tank at 88, and obviously at that sort of temperature you do need to watch fish very closely. However, these are not showing any signs of stress whatsoever. They are still very active. They're feeding really well, so obviously that is very important. Make videos about aquarium plants you have. Yeah, I've just recently done that. If you go back in our list, I think it's called Easium Aquarium Plants, and that's basically the plants that we have in our tanks, and I've gone through the tank, so we do have a video on that. So yeah, this tank is doing well. I can't see any spots now on the rose lines or the Denison barbs, which are these here. So it looks like they have lost their spots and they haven't gained any more. So that does show that the process is working. But the puffers do still have a lot, but they don't have as many as they did. So this process is going to take about 2 weeks. And obviously we will have to just keep doing what we're doing and just be very patient. So hopefully it will work out. You can see, again, you have to excuse the glare, let me move. You can see the new catfish just here. They're having a feeding frenzy with all the bloodworms that's dropping down. We don't see them very often. They are a nocturnal fish, so we don't see them that often. All right, let's have a look at some of the comments. I live in West Derby and love your videos. Keep it up. Thank you, Isaac. I actually used to live not far from there. Hi from South Africa. Love your videos. Do you have any crown tails? I don't. I have just the half moon, spade tail, and yeah, just the half moon and spade tail right now. So that's all I have at the moment. All right, are betas compatible with neon tetras? It really depends on the beta fish. Some people have a lot of success, other people they don't. They tend to nip at the neon tetras. So yeah, it really depends on the beta fish basically, and that goes with all fish, all beta fish. It really does depend on the beta fish itself. All right, let's see. Would you ever put betas with pea puffers? No, definitely not. Pea puffers are very nippy anyway, and so beta fish would be a big target for that. So no, I wouldn't do that. In fact, we found a huge shock in this tank I think it was about 2 days ago, and I doubt very much I will be able to find it for you. If you don't like the subject of culling, then I suggest that you leave the live stream now, because that's what I'm going to talk about, because we have had to cull some of our betta fish, and we actually use the process, and I have just seen it. We actually did use the process like a lot of betta fish do, and they a lot of people do, I should say, and they use fish to cull their fish. So in other words, they feed the fish to bigger fish because it's a very quick death, and that is one way of doing it. And that was what we chose to do, because we do have a lot of fish that will eat other fish, and so that was our way of culling these fish. However, we very rarely see this little one here. I don't know whether you can see it, it's just gone behind the plants. We actually had one survive, and I'm absolutely amazed. I have got no idea how this has happened, because when we put the fish in, to me they were all gone instantly. That was what the beauty of it was, because I hated doing the process. It was very, very difficult for me to do. And if you're going to go into breeding, it is a part of breeding, and it is something that people just don't talk about because it's a very difficult subject. And when we were going into breeding, we did have to give it a lot of consideration, because I didn't know if I could cull at the end of the day. It is a very, very difficult thing to do. And in fact, there it is now. I don't know whether you can see it. So this little lady, or male, I've no idea. I call it a lady, but I don't know whether it's male or female, has survived. And because of that, we're going to leave her in here. I've got no idea what she has eaten for the last 5 to 6 weeks. However, if she's survived this long, then we're going to leave her in here, and hopefully she will grow out in here. So we also found one in our goldfish tank, which I'll move across to the goldfish. We also found one in here that they'd left alone. They did eat everything else, but they did leave one, and that one survived as well. And so we did the we took that one out of here, because there's no way that one would have survived over time. These would definitely have eaten it over time. So we've taken it out, and it is in quarantine, and it will eventually go with the other fish. So that was quite a shock, and obviously we're going to have to relook at our process, simply because maybe it's not working and we need to be a little more efficient. So all right, let's have a look at some of the my betta is nipping her fins, and she lives alone, and she is not stressed. What do I do? Betta fin, usually fin nipping is stress. So I would take a look at your water parameters, and I would also take a look at your tank, whether it's planted enough. Is the filter too strong for the betta fish? They're usually indicators. Now, sometimes fin nipping can be simply because it fin nipping can sometimes be stress related, or the betta's fins are too heavy, and so they will basically nip their fins back so that they can swim. So this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue, because people are breeding betta fish with bigger and bigger fins, and they find it really, really difficult to swim. And so there's a lot more fin nipping going on. I've just recently been dealing with a lady, and it is such a severe case of fin nipping. And when I saw the original photograph of the fish, to me it was probably because the fins were way too heavy, and obviously the poor thing couldn't swim. So when buying betta fish, just bear that in mind. These fish with huge fins, they do look beautiful, they really do. But you've got to think of the fish's well-being, and can they swim? You know, if they can't swim, then it's just a detriment to the fish, and you end up having to euthanize, or they end up mutilating themselves so they can function. So just bear that in mind, guys, when you're actually buying a fish. All right, let's see what we've got here. Let's see. Yeah, you need to create a relationship with your local mom and pop store before you want to try selling anything. Yeah, I agree with that. And maybe that's a conversation that's been going on elsewhere, but that's what we did. We have created a relationship with a local store. And so if we do get overrun with fish that we're breeding, then we can actually go and sell them. So, okay, let me move hands here so that I'm not putting my thing over the screen. All right, I've got my betta with platies at the moment, and he loves them, great tank mates. Yeah, they usually are rabbit snails or nerite. I personally prefer nerite, but that's just a personal preference. Do I have shrimp? Yes, I do. I can show those to you now, assuming we can see any in the tank. All right, let me turn this around. Let's see, we have some on here. There's some back there. They usually all hide. Oh, actually, there's some feeding on a green bean that we put in. And then there's a load on the back there. I don't know whether you can see them. This is our guppy tank, so they do actually live with guppies. Can betas live with cherry shrimp? It's not something I would advise unless you have an extremely heavily planted tank, and even then the beta fish may actually still sort them out. So any suggestions on a cloudy tank? When was the tank set up? Was it recently set up? If it was recently set up, then that can be very normal for a tank to be cloudy. It's just an algae bloom, and just give it time to for it to settle down. All right, let's see what else we've got going on here. What kind of plants do we use in this tank? We have these are crypt. These are crypts. This is Anacaris or Ancarias, depending on how you want to say it. This one is a crypt Wenti, Amazon sword, and another crypt as well. So we have a few in this one, and then in this divided tank we also have crypts, and then we do have Anubias as well. So do you attach the Anacaris or just floating? In this tank I have both. I do have some planted, and then the rest is floating as well. So easy plants for a 2.5 gallon beta tank with heater. Easy plants, 2.5 is quite difficult because it's small, and most plants get big. However, I would say probably the Anubias, because you can get many different varieties of that, and that is this one here. And then this is another variety here. So this type of plant, I would say the Anubias is a good one, because you can get a lot of different varieties. So I would say those for that one. Okay, so let's go through to the baby betas and take a look at those. All right, let's go. I've got to put the light on to wake them up. All right, here we go. Let's see if they are ready to eat. You can see all the guppies. How many cories would you recommend in a 15-gallon long? I would say, let's see, a 15-gallon, I mean, cories do better in groups of 5 or 6 or more. So I would say minimum 5. What's your nationality? I am from England, but I do live in the USA. All right, so let's put some food in here for them. These are doing really well in here. We do still have some swimming issues, and right now it is only the Liverpool gang. Oh yes, absolutely. It is only the cellophane ones. As you can see them dropping as they feed. These are the ones that we're having an issue with. I'm not quite sure what is going on, because all the red ones are perfectly fine. It is only the cellophane ones that have got the issue. And over the last 2 days, what type of food is that? It's Daphnia, frozen Daphnia. Over the last 2 days, we've actually lost 2 cellophane, and I haven't even found their bodies, so I'm not even sure what is happening. Now, going back to the one that we saw that was culled supposedly in the goldfish tank, this is actually it. And I have it in quarantine right now because obviously I don't know if it's picked anything up from the goldfish. So I have treated it because I want it to go in with the other babies. But until the quarantine period is over, then I'm not going to add it in. So this is the little one here, which is just adorable. And as you can see, cellophane again. So I'm hoping that these 2 cellophane ones do right themselves, but they do seem to have a lot of issues. How long have you had him? Are you talking to somebody else or to me? Let's see, my beta won't eat. What can I do? Could the filter in the tank 10-gallon be too strong? I have a hang on the back. It's possible. It is a very big problem with hang on the back filters. They usually are too strong for beta fish. If there's any way you can baffle it, maybe with some sponge, If you actually search that on YouTube, we don't really use hang on the back for betta fish, but if you search it on YouTube, you will find ways to baffle a filter, which will then slow the flow down, which obviously is what you want to do. So I'm just going to add a little more into here. So yeah, I would try that. If it's not eating, another trick that you could do, I don't know what food you're trying, but another trick you could do is to soak the food in a little garlic juice, and that will obviously that will then entice them to eat. So that is also something else you can do. Also, that will help if there's any parasites too. So garlic has great purposes for fish just generally. Did you cycle that tank? Yes, this tank was fully cycled before they went in. This sponge filter, we have many sponge filters in different tanks, so when we do set up a new tank, although this one has been set up for many months, but for this tank, this filter's been cycled for about 3 to 4 months, so yeah, the tank is fully cycled. All right, let's see. I was wondering, what types of food do you give your bettas? We give a very wide variety of food. We do Daphnia, which is what is floating in this tank now. We also do Repashy gel food. We do pellets. We do bloodworms. We do mysis shrimp. When they were babies, we did banana and microworms as well. So they do get a wide variety of stuff. So, all right. Hi Sam 2002. Are you doing any collabs? I don't have any planned at the moment. I very rarely collab actually, but no, there's none planned at the moment. All right, what else have we got? My betta is not eating food after a water change. I would just let it settle. Sometimes bettas get very, very stressed out with water changes. Others, they really don't care. So if it's not eating, I would suggest not feeding right after a water change. I would say to wait a while before you actually feed. All right. How do you culture microworms? I actually have some here. Let me show you them. It was Big City Bettas that got me into this, and she does have the best video if you want to check out how to do it. But this is the microworms, and all we use is it's oatmeal and bananas, and then obviously you need a culture of microworms, and then all those like little things up the sides, they're the worms. Now these can only really be used for fry for the first few weeks, well maybe up to about a month. And all you do is take like a cotton swab and just rub it over the sides, and then you put them in the tank. Yeah, it is gross, I have to say. When I was offered these, it was like, oh, I really don't know if I want them. But I decided that, you know what, I will give them a go, and I am so glad I did. Definitely glad I did, because all the fish ate them, and it was a great source of food. And once you've bought them, it's a free source of food. So, because they just keep producing and producing and producing with very little care. So I would definitely recommend them. All right, let's take a look at, we've got one male guppy in here right now, and that's because he's come out with very different colors to all the others. But here are our mystery snails, and they're all munching on Repashy gel food right now. These are all the blue ones, and then we have ivory ones over here, and there's Miss Daffy. She, for those of you that don't know, she is mom to the babies, and then dad is in the divided tank as well. And then we've got this crazy guppy who never stops swimming, so he is waiting to be fed. But he came out very different colouring than all the others, and so I didn't want him to breed. So yeah, Daffy is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's see. DKR, best place to get a culture is off someone else in the hobby. If that's not possible, you can find them easily on eBay. Yes, you can get them off eBay. The cultures, they are usually available. Oh, all right, let's go back into the other room. What kind of tree was that? This tree is from, I think it was PetSmart, and then all I've done is add Java moss to it, just to make it look a bit more like a tree. So that was quite easy to do. And I don't know whether they're still selling them, because I think that I got them on clearance. So I'm not sure if they actually still have them. So, all right, my betta has, oh, let's have a look at that one. My betta, what was that? My betta has a lot slimmer body than normal. Is that normal? Finnage and health is perfect. if it is thin, then I would say that, let's see, my beta has a lot slimmer body than normal. Is that normal? Yeah, if it is slim, what I would do is just make sure you're feeding enough. Very often beta fish are thin because they're not being fed enough. So just make sure that you're feeding enough to your beta fish. All right, how many tanks do you have? We currently have 8 at the moment, I think. Sometimes I lose count. So, all right, let's turn this around. So for those of you that are new here as well, this is Bandit. He is dad to those babies out there that you've just seen. And again, he's wanting to be fed right now too, along with all the guppies. They're all wanting to be fed, but I don't have food for them right now. So, all right, let's see. Hay gets 6 pellets a day, 3 pellets morning, 3 pellets in the evening. Yeah, it depends on the size of the fish, really. Depending on the fish and the size of the fish, then it can vary. The likes of this one here, I would do 4 to 5 pellets if I was feeding twice a day. Whereas if you have like a smaller one, then maybe only 3 is enough. So usually when giving advice, it just depends on the size of the fish and obviously the makeup of the fish in general. Where do you get all your betas? Bandit came from Kasha at Creative Pet Keeping. And this guy here, he came from, I think it was Petco, and then Daffy out there, she was a Thai import, and then we do have another one, and she also came from Petco. All the guppies, how many do we have? I have got no idea. There are so many in this tank that I haven't got a clue. If I had to guess, I would say maybe 40. And we are planning on selling them if the weather does warm up slightly at the end of the month. So hopefully we will have some for sale by the end of the month. So how many ghost shrimp in a 5-gallon and beta fish would you recommend? Only 1 beta fish, and as for ghost shrimp, it's very probable that the beta would eat them unless you have a very, very heavily planted tank. So it would just depend sort of on what you actually did. We have some shrimp down here eating a green bean. They love green beans. And then we've got a load more baby guppies. I don't know whether you can see them just back there. They're so tiny. All right, isn't it expensive to maintain all those tanks? Not really, no. Because all you're really doing is water changes and obviously feeding them. I mean, we try get food on sale and stuff like that. So no, I would say overall probably not. But I guess it does, you know, it does depend what you want to do with the tanks. But for me, the most time consuming thing is definitely water changes, especially in these 2 back here, because we do 50% on this one and about 70–80% on this one. And I do have to do it a lot. So, okay, is there like a private message board I can talk to you about some problems I'm having with my tank? If you want to DM me on Instagram, that is really the only place that I do sort of direct message. I do sometimes on Facebook, but I'm not as active on Facebook as I am on Instagram. So hello, is the frog bit going for sale? We've actually not long put a load up for sale and it all sold out. I think we did about 8 lots of it and it just completely sold out within a few hours, literally. And so we're going to be putting some more up. Obviously when it grows, we've got to wait for it to grow. So once it recovers, then we will do that. So please reply beta tank mates in a 10-gallon planted tank. 10-gallon planted tank tank mates. That's a difficult one really, because I personally, I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with me, I personally think there's very few fish can actually go in a 10-gallon tank if you want them in the correct numbers and that sort of thing. However, there are some nano fish, but I'm not particularly into nano fish, so I don't really know all the different ones that you could try, but that is something you could maybe search on Google or maybe on the other live streams that people that deal with nano fish, then maybe you could just ask them. But we don't really do nano fish, so but I would say nano fish. A lot of people would maybe say platies and guppies, but for me personally, I just think they get too big and a beta fish can quite easily get stressed out. So how do you put your beta fish with other fish? Usually we will just try them floating in a cup to start with, and then we will see how they react, and then we just release them over time. But an awful lot depends on the beta fish. most betta fish will live with other fish. You just have to be patient, but there are a lot of betta fish that won't. Having said that, it just depends on their aggression or not. Yeah, Rachel O'Leary is definitely perfect for nanofish. She would be able to tell you what nanofish could go in a 10-gallon. In class right now. Well, you're obviously not doing a lot of work if you're in class right now. My goodness. Honestly, I've learned a lot from you. Thank you for the wonderful videos. I have too many fish now. Join the club, and thank you. Thank you very much. All right, guys, I am going to call it there. I think I'm going to stop. I didn't actually plan on being this long. This was supposed to be just a really quick update. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for supporting the channel, and we will see you in our next video. All right, guys, bye.